And now I'm joined by one of my favorite people on television, network, cable, streaming, whatever, the star and executive producer of Blackish, Mr. Anthony Anderson. Thank you for joining us today, Anthony.
Woo! I had no choice, Dom. I had no choice.
Well, we know that we're all a little bit under captivity still, but we're very glad you're with us. Now, right away, what we want to talk about is well, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a clip from season 6 of Blackish. Take a look, and then we'll be back with Anthony Anderson.
Mama, gonna be late. Mama, what the hell are you doing? Woman, close your roll, boy, close the door. Oh, sweet blood Jesus. Please tell me they were just wrestling.
I don't even know how to approach that, except that it's something that everyone has absolutely feared. But I have to ask this because I know that so much of what goes into the making of Blackish comes from Kenya's life, from Tracy's life, from your life. Did that happen, my
man? You know what? That did happen to me as a child. I never spoke to any of our writers about this, so I'm pretty sure they were drawing on their own experiences. But I remember walking into the room. I don't know why I was going into the room unannounced like that, but I was called or something. I walked into the room, and my father was on the downstroke as I walked in, and I had to ease right back out of the room and, take stock in what it was that I just saw, and my life as a child had been changed forever.
Was it?
It was all of that, Dom, and some other stuff.
Well, I have to say, it also made for some great TV. And one of the things about this most recent and 6th season of Blackish is we've seen even more of the evolution of Dre and Bo and the family. And now, the children are growing so much. One of my favorite lines from this season was when you guys did the vacation and you did that great line about Daddy's going to get indigestion tonight, as if it was the great party waiting to happen. But it was. So much of this season has been about not only you and Bo as parents, Tracy, as parents, but also dealing with the changing circumstance of your own parents. So I wanted to get a sense from you as the star, as the lead actor, the lead male actor of Blackish, but also as an EP, this evolution of your character and where do you think this is telling us about Dre, his own conflicts, and about where the show is going?
I think any show becomes stagnant and boring if, any of the characters are one note. It becomes uninteresting. And that's why I tip my hat to our showrunner and writers and exploring every avenue of every character on our show and allowing those characters to live, breathe, and evolve. As we all do as humans. And I think that's what makes any interaction, any relationship that much more interesting to view, to be a part of, and to create from.
Well, one of the elements about Blackish that I've always loved as a viewer, as well as in my professional paying my mortgage job of being a TV critic for Deadline, is that it balances and bridges between being a very traditional and very proud to be traditional sitcom and something that's a very probing and quite dramatic show. I guess in a way, Blackish in some ways is a dramedy without ever naming itself that terrible thing. For you, what have been some of the things this season that you really wanted to push the envelope with?
Nothing per se, personally and in particular. I leave that up to Courtney Lilly, our showrunner, to come up with the subject matter and whatever it is we're going to discuss from episode to episode. So, I'm not sitting in the room with them. I may have ideas about, I think we, this is something that's interesting that happened to me. What do you think about it? There was a play on our family vacation where we didn't really get into it. But when my family, we take a yearly vacation, when we took our vacation last summer, Normally, I shouldn't say normally, quite often, we're the only African American family wherever we are. And we happen to come across another African American family. And we gave each other the look, across the restaurant at dinner. And then they disappeared. And then we saw them on the beach the next day, and they just happened to be staying 4 villas down from our villa on the beach, and we were just excited. So this may sound pretentious, but I called or grabbed my butler and asked him. I was like, "Yo, who is this other Black family that's here? We need to meet them. We need to get to know them." And they were like, "Mr. Anderson, there's no other Black family here. You're the only one." I said, No. We saw them at dinner yesterday, and we saw them on the beach. We need to know who they are." Long story short, he contacted another butler, put us together, and we ended up becoming the best of friends for that week-long trip that we were there. We still stay in contact with one another now. I then came back with the story of, one family trying to out-Black the other Black family on the vacation. There's always a door that there's always another door that you could enter when you come into a room someplace. There's always a different door that the elite go through. And so it was just like, yo, I want this to be about, what family is Blacker, what family is downer, which family has more money, who has better access and all that. So those are the things that, I pitch and try to come up with throughout the season, but it's all based on, personal experiences that we all go through, and how we can tell the best story from those experiences that will resonate with an audience and keep their attention.
Anthony, you're one of the busiest people in show business, like James Brown level busy. And you also, but I wanted to know, we've talked about this before, when a show's on for 6 seasons going forward, there's a lot that changes in the world. There's a lot that changes within the dynamics of that show. Kind of as a last question for you, what has been the biggest change or evolution from the beginning of Blackish to where we are now? And I'm not talking about the change in the White House.
You know what? The change in my co-stars, the children who started with us in the beginning were 7 and 8 years old, and now they're 15 and 16 and becoming young adults. And Marcus Scribner is now 20 years old. He's a young man. Those are the dynamics that have changed since the beginning. Tracy and I and Lawrence and Jennifer, we're already adults, mature adults, and so we've reached our plateau and we're just riding along. But these children, these young teenagers and young men and women, they have their whole life and career ahead of them, and to see them grow and become the young adults and entertainers that they are is just a beautiful thing. That's the dynamic that has affected me the most, watching these children grow before my eyes, who I look at as my own.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for joining us again at Contenders. You're always such a pleasure to be here, Anthony. And thank you so much for more past seasons of Blackish and more Blackish to come.